Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. We're going to do NFL, and we're going to take a look at the AFC South. Guys, last year, the Indianapolis Colts, who've had a stranglehold on this division for how many years now, they had injuries. Andrew Luck was out a good part of the season. When he was in there, we clearly saw that he wasn't 100% before they finally pulled the plug on him, and he had a bad year. So we saw Houston get to the first place, a team that's had talent for a lot of years, but boy, they've had some quarterback problems down there. Bill O'Brien, you got to give him credit. You know, granted, got there by default with Indianapolis stepping back, but what did he use last year? 3 quarterbacks to get to the play, or 4 quarterbacks to get to the playoffs last year? Brian, what do you think of this division?
Yeah, this is I consider this the worst division in football. Indy, you talk about Luck. Luck played 7 games last year, and I have a definitive statement. This is a team 27-8 the past 4 years in games decided by 1 score. It's all comes down to luck.
Oh, how long did you work on that?
I've been preparing all week.
Oh, that's not good. Tony,
where's the drum roll on
Bill O'Brien, Houston, they go out, they get Brock Osweiler. You know, you're taking a chance. I know he had, you know, he showed signs last year with Denver, got the big contract. Shocked that he didn't re-sign with Denver. I mean, you've got the Super Bowl team. You've got a defense that's solid. You've got a good running game. You know, you could have, you know, went back to the Super Bowl, but he didn't feel the love last year when he went back to Peyton in the playoffs, and I think he was a little bitter about that and wanted to move on. I don't know. Money doesn't talk, I guess. Do you think he's the real deal for Houston?
I'm not sold on that. It's probably not a fair comparison because Brock hasn't had a lot of playing time, but it's kind of like a Steve DeBerg clone. As long as you have a decent defense, hopefully he doesn't make too many mistakes. He has someone to hand the ball off to. However, the question mark is, why did Denver not re-sign him, or why convince him to stay? Is that speak volumes to what they thought of Osweiler, or was it, as you mentioned, Elway's was a little surprised on some of the reactions of Osweiler when they pulled him from the playoff game, obviously.
If you looked at Osweiler's stats last year, he was good at throwing the short passes, but if he had to throw the ball deep, he's not accurate at all. They signed him for a way too high contract. Bill O'Brien was supposed to be a quarterback genius in college. He's made nothing but bad decisions since he's come to the NFL, and since he paid him all this money for a long-term contract, it's going to really hamper Houston. This was a team that was on the rise. If they could have stuck with a low-priced guy where they could have brought in some other guys and paid them the money. This is a team, you know, we talked about this Denver last year. Denver didn't have a quarterback all season long, right. A good quarterback, and they won the Super Bowl because of the defense. Houston should have went that way. I'm not happy with what happened to Houston. I think it's a step back.
2 teams that are in there that have been, you know, on the bottom of the barrel for quite some time, actually, I think, have some of the best young talent of the teams in that division, but they're probably a year or 2 away. Start with Jacksonville and Blake Bortles. You know, this is a team that, you know, I was surprised when he went as high as he went in the draft, but he's really shown, you know, some, you know, maturity at the NFL level already. This is a team that I think with a few more pieces is going to be a team that's ready to take that jump. I'm not talking about this team's going to make a playoff run, but 8-8, you know, maybe squeezing 9-7 this year or next year. I think they're heading in that direction.
9-7 could make a playoff run in this division. I love their draft picks, but they spent more money in free agency than anybody else, a lot more. And usually when you spend a lot of money in free agency, it's bad. So that's a concern I have. But this is a team right now, you talk about hype, there's a lot of people that like this. There's got to, in my opinion, there's got to be value. If you still haven't played your season wins, got to be some value on the under here. There's too many question marks.
Tennessee, the running game should be good. They strengthened the running game in the offseason. And, of course, we saw what Marcus Mariota did last year in his first year. If you see that next step of progression, Tennessee, what do you see for them this year?
I guess if you get points for having 2 Heisman players in your starting lineup, then you have a little advantage right off the bat. Running backs, DeMarco Murray, they pick him up. Henry out of Alabama, the Heisman Trophy winner, to go along with Mariotti. This is a team that hasn't done much for almost a decade. And I think they still have a long ways to go, especially defensively.
This is the team in Tennessee. They're 2-25 when they allow more than 14 points in a game. It tells me you need to improve your defense. Well, I think they have, but you need to be able to run the football, keep that defense off the field. And with Mariota, they need to be able to keep him upright. I think short passing game, running attack is best for Tennessee this year, and they're a team on the rise. They've made some good pickups in the draft. So, but they're a few years away still.
If you can win the time of possession battle, you're going to improve your defense instantly just by keeping them off the field, like you said. And they're built for that this year.
This is a team that was, won 3 games last year. They were also, I think, 4-11-1 against the spread. So even though they're a team that wins 3 games, typically 3 teams that win 3 games, a lot of times you're going to get some value, especially late in the season on the point spread. It just didn't happen with them.
Defense didn't do it for them.
They're only favored in 1 game all season long, and that's against the Browns.
Yeah. Who do you have winning this division?
I think Indy wins it by default. I don't think, like I said at the open, I think this is the weakest division in football. Anybody who has a winning record in this division is probably only going to be 1 team.
Houston, I think, if Brock Osweiler can do anything, and I think he's playing with a chip on his shoulder this year, and I think it might be enough to carry Houston. I think people are going to jump back on Indianapolis with Andrew Luck. I still, Indianapolis for me, after Bruce Arians left, the team just hasn't been the same. When he took over for Chuck with the illness that year, that team played well, and they haven't played as that good since he left. I'm not sold on the current coach at Indianapolis. I'm going to go with Houston. I think Bill O'Brien is going to prove himself right with this move because, like you said, he really did stick his neck out with this one. He tied himself to a quarterback.
We might have to have a lunch bet on this.
All right.
To win this division, lunch bet.
All right, you got it. If we're going for the whole season, we got to at least make it a dinner.
Okay, a dinner.
And a place with a fork. Not a plastic one.
fork.
No.
Plastic fork.
All right, guys. Hey, check out Weekend All Access at Wager Talk each and every week. $69. You can pick up Thursday through Monday. Football season, that's the best deal going. You're going to get baseball, football. You get all of the games, the Thursday night games, the Friday night games, Monday night football. Check it out. Weekend All Access each week, just $69. Pick your favorite capper, get all of his plays for the weekend. It's the best value on the net. We'll be back with more here at WagerTalk.com.